I can sit here later. I sit here later and I have a little shower, you know. Have a couple of girls in here, you know, party on a bit, you know. That's enough of that.
As we're sitting here in the dressing room here at Club Nokia and interviewing Chris Foreman, who plays guitar with Madness. Chris, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So it's been about 30 years in the making or so with Madness. You guys started out, let me a little back history on Madness here. 1976 you guys formed, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, 79 was the year we really,
you did it with the One Step Beyond album.
And the specials and all that.
And then also here in the United States, 1983 or so, with songs like One Step, I'm sorry, with Our House,
that's the one,
and Baggy Trousers, House of Fun.
House,
Is it pretty much?
Yeah, it was quite unusual that, because we hadn't been here for 2 years.
Right.
And this guy from Geffen Records came over and heard it in England, and he said, "That's a hit." You know? I'm trying to remember his name. He's really funny.
So let me ask you, One Step Beyond, that was the first album.
Yeah.
Prince Buster.
Yeah.
What was the influence with Prince Buster that pretty much sparked that song to do songs like The Prince?
Yeah, I mean, what it was, it's that song, Prince Buster did a song called Al Capone.
Correct.
You know, which the Specials appropriated for their song Gangsters. The B-side of Al Capone is One Step Beyond.
Right.
Right, his version. And I mean, you should really check it out, because it's really, really good. And nothing like that one. And yeah, we just did it, and it was a bit unusual. You know, I suppose it's a bit of an unusual song.
Right.
And the record company, Dave Robertson,
Right.
Stiff Records, he said, "You got to do, you know, instrumentals." Of course, you know, in Europe, it's really popular because, you know, not really much lyrics.
And Stiff was a great album, had so many, labeled a lot of people on it.
Yeah, they were really good. Yeah.
Did they originally pick Clive and Adam as your producers?
I mean, Dave Robinson, he was the boss of Stiff, and he always says he got them together, but I don't know. Yeah, he knew them both. We knew Clive.
Right.
We wanted to work with Clive. You know, but Clive's not an engineer, so we needed a good engineer. So it was Alan and Stanley. You know, they were a good team.
And you've worked with them for almost 30 years now.
We've worked with them for a long time. We worked with them on the last album we did, but I think this one we're doing a new album and we're working with other people. You know, but we will do some stuff with Clive, I think.
And what is this new album called? Do we even have a name for it? Or is that in the...
Yeah, there's all lots of debate about that, but I don't know.
And then you had The Liberty of Norton before.
Yeah.
What was that whole story about?
Well, that song was written by about 3 other bands. I don't want to start any arguments as to who wrote it, so I wasn't kind of really that involved.
Right.
But Norton Folgate is an enclave. That's what it is, an enclave. It was a part of London that had a load of weird people in. And that's what it's about. It's kind of like that song. It's great, you know. It's like the history of London. You know.
But would you hang out at that joint or?
What, that joint?
The place. I mean.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, like everything else, they want to knock it down and build a Starbucks or something. You know, not being nasty to Starbucks. You know, they want to knock it down. And, there's a big thing to keep it.
What kind of folks will go there? I mean, I know
Still
you did a whole
pretty eclectic bunch of people. Yeah.
Kind of
hang around that part of London.
More the arts.
Yeah.
Arts folk.
All kind of people. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then that's 2009, and it's been almost 4 years now, and now you guys have.
Years, I mean, that took kind of 2 years. Not, you know, of solid work.
Right.
Just writing on and off, and that's what we've been doing with this one.
And
you know, and we've written 22 songs.
Wow.
And, there's another debate. You know, I want to do like 14 songs on the album.
Right.
And then some people don't, and you know, hopefully we'll come to some.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they're good. You know, I think they're good songs. They're very diverse.
And then finally, what I want to know is, I know one of our DJs at KCRW asked me a question.
Yeah.
What's with the iconic pose from One Step Beyond? Where does that start from?
You know, I don't know. You know, I like to say it's all my idea, but I always had this idea of us walking in a line, and there's this comedian called Dave Allen
Right.
in England. He's an Irish comedian. I think he's dead now. He's a really funny guy. But he used to do mainly sitting and telling jokes, but he used to do sketches. And one of his sketches was these guys walking down the street, and he knocks on someone's door, and the guy joins him, like right behind him, you know, exactly like the Madness Nutty train. And they walk along. There's quite a lot of them in the end, you know, about 6 or 7 people, and they walk into a sardine factory. Get it? You know, they work in a sardine factory. And they,
Oh, like this, right?
You know, and that's where I got, you know, that thing of us. We did a photo session, and we kind of nearly did it, and then Mike kind of really refined it into a train. You know, the keyboard player Mike.
And that's
But
pretty
in
big.
fact, if you look upon our website, worldwidewebmadness.co.uk, I just made this little film, and I put it to some music that we've done, the song that's never been released. And there is somebody doing that, you know, in like the 50s. The Locomotion, it was called. The Locomotion.
Is that where
Dance.
it originally came
Yeah.
from? Okay,
There's
got
some
it.
guy, and he's really doing it, but we didn't
Right.
kind of watch that and copy it. We just kind of somehow.
Did it that way, and then
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
became this iconic pose. And
Yeah, obviously, yeah, we did it on the cover, and in fact, you see this here, on the cover of the album, we were, you know, because if you look, we're really like leaning, and there was a thing on the wall.
and you guys were holding
Yeah,
on.
it was in a, like a dance studio, and there was one of those bars, and we were holding the bar. That's how, you know, if you look, we're really going back a long way, and then they before Photoshop,
They did that.
yeah.
Well, funny enough, I remember going back a few years. It was about 1983. I first saw you guys.
Yeah.
It was at UCLA, and you guys actually came out.
I did, yeah. I mean,
Came out that way.
I love it, you know, but you know, obviously, nobody wants to do it anymore. But
It's a little backbreaker, you know.
Yeah.
We're not spring chickens anymore, and
yeah, it's hard. You know, like a few years ago, we did maybe 10 years ago. We did. You know, Yoji Yamamoto. He's
Right.
a designer. He's like really good. And he wanted us to do a fashion show in Paris because he sort of started in the 80s, and he wanted people from the 80s. You know, so he had John Cale, who's not from the 80s, is he? Anyway, we did this thing, and we did the train.
The whole
It
thing.
killed us. It killed us, you know.
So
That
what-
was just walking across this room. Like, we started like any bands, a lot of bands, you know, you start off and you do covers. Yeah, and we did covers of Elvis, the Coasters, you know, everyone.
Prince
Tequila.
Buster. Yeah.
No, and then we started putting those ones in. You know, mainly it's like kind of big sucks, but we kind of like that sort of music. Nobody was doing it.
Right.
So we started writing our own songs, which were somewhat reggae-ish, some of them. And we stopped doing all the covers that everybody did because nobody was doing that kind of music, you know. And that's how we did it, you know. But I wouldn't say we're purely ska per se. As I always say to any American, you know, what's that biggest hit? Our House. It's not ska, is it?
It's its own.
kind
It's
of
its
like
own thing.
Motown. It's kind of
Right.
Motown more than, you know, which is also something we really liked, you know, like that song Embarrassment. You know, that one on the second. You know,
Of
that's
course,
like,
yeah.
That's like a Motown song. So there are certain types of
Well, even songs like "Wings of a Dove" or things like that, or
Calypso, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we still
you're your own sound. The nutty sound of madness is what it is.